So not so long ago, we read about the appointment of our next guest to the post of Commissioner of the French Language here in Quebec. First ever, by the way, Commissioner of the French Language, and it's a pretty good mandate. It runs for 7 years. The gentleman in that job is BENOԻT DUBREUIL, and I remember at the time, Natasha, we said that we should get him on the air and try to understand this job, and he said, let's wait until I actually assume my role, which is now. BENOԻT DUBREUIL is on the line. I understand, Monsieur DUBREUIL, this is going to be your first English language interview. Is that correct?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show.
I'm pleased to have this first interview with you.
Well, thank you.
I guess the first question to ask, since I said you're the first ever Commissioner of the French Language, is what is the job of the Commissioner of the French Language?
Yeah, well, maybe just a word on the mandate, because I don't want people to think that a whole new bureaucracy is being created, right? So it's a new position, but it replaces the Conseil supérieur de la langue française that was abolished after 45 years of existence with the adoption of Bill 96 last summer. So at the end of the day, the size of bureaucracy stays more or less the same. So the difference is that the Conseil supérieur was reporting to a minister. So it was reporting to government. And now the commissioner will report directly to the National Assembly. So it's a situation that is similar to the official language commissioner in Ottawa or to the Auditor General. It really gives the commissioner more independence.
Okay.
When you look at the mandate, so it's really in continuity with the mandate of the Conseil supérieur. So it's about monitoring the situation of French in Quebec. It's also about conducting research, providing advice to members of Parliament as well as to members of government. So that's what's in continuity. But there's also a new part to it, which is more connected with assessment, evaluation of government language policy. So some people have said that the commissioner would be a watchdog of government in a way that is similar to the Auditor General. So basically, that will be a central part of my role, which will be to assess whether or not the government is meeting its objectives, whether or not measures that are put in place are effective, if they are efficient. So if you take, for instance, French learning for immigrants, like we know that government has been investing significant money in the programs over recent years, but we also know that the needs are growing extremely rapidly. So the question is the government delivering outcomes? So that's a good question, and I will definitely look into it.
This sounds like a big job. I mean, obviously, it's a big mandate. I'm imagining that you're not doing this all by yourself, Commissioner DUBREUIL.
No, I will need to go to the National Assembly Bureau to ask for funds, and I will need to build a team. So it won't be a massive team. So it's really an oversight body, right? So most of the work in terms of implementing language policy will still be done by the Department of French Language, by the Office québécois de la langue française. So they will be doing most of the job, and I will be really there to do the oversight work. But I won't have that much resources, so I will really need to focus on key priorities.
Does it fall under the budget of the OQLF? When you say you don't have many resources, are we talking about in terms of budget?
No. It's really I need to go to the Bureau of the National Assembly to ask for a specific budget. So that's how the Auditor General also functions, and people who report to the National Assembly. It's a slightly different approach to budgeting.
Okay. So when we go back to when this was first announced, I remember that the Quebec Liberals say they didn't want to vote to have you in as commissioner. I remember Marc Tanguay, the interim leader of the Liberals, standing up and saying that you and his party had divergent visions as far as French language is concerned in Quebec. And I'm wondering what your vision is, because a lot has been made lately of the fact that it's not even a matter of the French language being spoken in businesses, for example. The Premier kind of stepped into it a while ago, and he suggested that the language spoken at home would now enter into the sphere. Are you involved in that to any degree?
Yeah, so maybe I can say a word about the discussion around my appointment. So I did have a chance to meet with the different parties. I basically told the same story to all political parties. I explained my professional background, explained my vision for the position, my understanding of the overall linguistic situation in Quebec. So I'm very grateful to have had these discussions. They were very respectful. Then obviously I've been appointed, and I don't think it would be appropriate for me to start commenting on the position of the different political parties, because I need to work for all political parties as the commissioner appointed by the National Assembly. So with respect to your question about the indicator, language spoken at home, language spoken at work, and I think we do have a large number of indicators in Quebec, and I think we can still improve on the data that we have. All of them have limitations. I think it would be very good to to provide a general overview of what exists and what we should do with them.
Well, okay, I understand you want to have the data, but I think the concern is from people, and I remember when we first talked about this, is the government really has no business sticking its nose into the language people speak at home.
Yeah, no, that's the situation that we have in Quebec. Like, I think there is a general agreement around this, is that there is a decline, an overall decline in the proportion of people who speak French at home. But at the same time, we know that a lot of people who will come with immigrant background, who speak a third language at home, they also opt for French in the public sphere. So I think that's the overall situation that we have. I think the interesting question is, how strong is actually French in the public sphere, in the workplace, in culture, in commerce, everywhere? Is it strong enough? Is it strong enough to make sure that it remains sustainable? I'm not sure that we have all the data to fully support this discussion, but I think we already know quite a bit. I think we know that we've made tremendous progress over the past couple of decades, but at the same time, when you look at the situation among immigrants in Quebec, you see that English remains stronger than among the non-immigrants. French remains a bit weaker. So, I'm really of the position that we have made tremendous progress, but we are probably not exactly where we want to be, and we still can make progress in the future. And my approach to the different government programs will really try to see whether or not what the government is doing is actually delivering outcomes.
So my question, as you say that, Monsieur Dubreuil, is what defines progress here? Where do you measure that? Is that 100% of businesses speaking French? Where is that level? How do you quantify that?
I'm not sure that we have had this discussion completely, and in Quebec, I'm not sure that we have had this democratic discussion. It is true that, I think if we were to have a minority of immigrants coming to Quebec, of allophones turning to English, no one would really be concerned about that. I think it's really a matter of proportion. But what proportion is good? What proportion should we be aiming to reach? I'm not sure that we've had this discussion. I'm not sure that anyone has proposed a number. I will definitely have something to say about this, in the coming months and years.
Can I ask, before we let you go, for your reaction to the backlash of the ad that came out last week about the peregrine falcon and the decline of the French language? It seems that francophones and allophones were equally insulted. What's your reaction?
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to comment on the ad itself, but I think the ad was pointing to an interesting phenomenon that was not only concerning the youth. I've been working in the federal public service for many years, and I've been working largely in English for many years. And that's something that I observed over the years, francophones who were living and working mostly in French for 10, 15, 20 years in English. They ended up having hard time speaking or even writing properly in French. And it was even the case for me for some years. After working largely in English, I ended up having trouble actually talking about my work without using 2 or 3 words in English in every sentence. So I think overall, when you look at this from a philosophical perspective, there's nothing wrong in languages actually borrowing words from other languages. But when it happens massively, it does raise question about the overall balance between the linguistic group. And I think we are today in a world of transition, especially in the digital world. We have an Anglo-American culture that is extremely powerful, that has always been, but that is even more today. And it does create a pressure on culture. If we have a discussion in Quebec, I think a lot of countries are also having the same discussion. And I will be happy to have more to say on this through my studies and through my reports.
Well, listen, I do thank you for taking the time to speak with us. We very much appreciate it, and I hope we can do this again a few months into your job or a little later into your job, and we can talk about this again and what you think you've learned and what you think those goals should be going forward for the language. So thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
All right. BENOԻT Dubreuil. He is the new...
First ever.
Yeah. Although, as he said, it is a job that used to be called something else. Commissioner of the French language. And we'll touch base with him and see what he learns over the coming months.